Love you, man. Okay. You might wonder, what is somebody from the U.S. doing up here right before you're about to choose your leader? And the thing is that, thank you. The thing is that being from where I'm from, I actually have an experience that's probably the most relevant for you, because what I learned is that they're still counting the last few votes. And I come from a country where we've learned what happens when you don't count the votes properly, or when people change the votes that were already cast. So it's really critical to make sure that we get the elections done, and that's why we had me up here. I just want to say, while they're finishing counting the votes, how impressed I have been by the combination of humanity, dignity, grace, kindness, and professionalism and grassroots that I've seen from all of you here. And the fact you've kept it together, you need to give yourself a big hand. People traditionally say that word politician, you're a politician, and it has a negative context about it. But I think what you're showing all of Canada is that you can be a politician in that sense that both started from the Greeks, and I'm actually born in Athens, Greece, and adopted by Americans and brought back, and by my favorite Green presidential candidate in the United States, Ralph Nader, the idea of being a public citizen, of taking on the responsibility of self-governance and community as your own, and that it's not something that can corrupt you, but something that can actually empower you. That's what you're doing. And that's what CPAC is showing across your entire country and is showing on the web. And it's really critical. When we were out at the Scrum before, and the press had asked us the question about, how important is it about the Green Party in Canada, and what can it do even to help across the border? Even the simple thing in our country, the fact that you've shown that you can actually have affordable prescription drugs, something that we haven't been able to figure out in our own country, has changed the national debate. So when you think about what goes on and how significant the big whale that Monica had said before that eats everything up, the United States is, your success here and the way that you're doing it, I believe, is going to be an example not only to improve your own country, but to improve my country. Okay. Now, let's think back to yesterday and the presentation that we had about what are the key issues and how high health care graded across that poll for both Green voters and other voters. Now, we have a Green Party here in Canada, we have a Green Party in the United States, and we have a Green Party in Mexico, the three co-signatories to the NAFTA treaty from the early 1990s. Now, let's imagine that we have Green leaders and Green prime ministers and presidents in all three of those countries, which will happen over time. Okay? And most likely, I have to say, if it's going to happen, most likely it's those three are going to be she's as well. When Ralph Nader, I'm not choosing your leader today, I'm just saying someday the president will be a woman, nothing about anybody here, but when Nader, I'm a partisan, I'm just a guess, but when Nader ran for president in 96 and 2000, he said that he would pull the United States out of NAFTA and rethink how our cooperation goes. So when we talk about health care, let's say that we actually did cancel NAFTA and rethink it around human rights, labor rights, environment, those sort of ideas. Now, instead of having corporate agriculture, which destroys the land, which undermines the soil, which drives people out of rural communities and brings them into cities and really changes the entire balance, now instead we'd be promoting local, decentralized, organic agriculture. What does that do then in terms of human health? Instead of destroying the immune system every day with what we consume, instead what would happen is we would be both empowering community and making ourselves healthier. And as we know, when we talk about the tax shift, the less money that we're spending on all the environmental destruction, it just frees up more money to go into the economy to pay for the good things. So when you combine that sort of concept, and if we went with, as you call, full cost pricing, true cost pricing, if we combine that together with this approach with agriculture, and we would rewrite a trade agreement which would instead not just be about trade, which would be about real cooperation between societies, now suddenly the cost of living comes down, health goes up, and for all those people who don't think the Greens have an idea about what real economic development is, now the money that would be left over would be going into businesses that would profit by doing the right thing instead of the wrong thing. So we'd create more jobs that way, and the money would circulate more in communities, because we know when money just leaves and goes to corporate boardrooms for them to control, it disempowers communities. And instead, our economic plan would create better for families and create more jobs and more health. And the final thing I'll say before Monica comes up here as well is, if you had three nations that were cooperating on the basis of ecology and human rights, and showing that nations can live in cooperation on the basis of their own resources in a sustainable manner, think what that says about peace around our planet, because so much of the destruction and the hate goes around with people trying to control resources that are the resources of other people. And particularly with my own country, the arrogance that we have, that we think that, they used to say with the first invasion of the Persian Gulf, it was kick their ass and take our gas. That literally, that sick mindset that a small percentage, 5% of the world's population, can take 25% of the world's resources, it's so wrong. And with a green consciousness in all three countries, we would set the example that peace and environment can go together, and we would stop that sort of militarism. Thank you very much. And now, Monica.